I'm Dante.
And I'm Elmer. Welcome to our first cooking show. Alright, so today we're going to make beef lasagna roll-ups with goat cheese and basil. Alright, so things you'll need. 1 small onion.
3 cloves of garlic.
Alright, you're going to need a box of lasagna noodles.
Pound of ground beef. Get round, chopped, whichever you want. The fattier, the more delicious, obviously.
All the other stuff is over on your side, so you're going to have to pick it up.
Okay.
We're going to need basil. I bought a plant because it was basically the same amount as just buying it separately, so I figure it will grow back. Then I'll have a bunch of free basil.
Exactly. Parmesan. You can get it shaved or grated, whichever you prefer.
Need about a cup of it, so 4 ounces. I think that's what, 4 ounces? It comes in 4 ounces, so it's perfect.
Simple. Ricotta.
Staple to any lasagna recipe.
Some goat cheese. It's yummy. You'll like it. Let's see. Crushed tomatoes.
28 ounces crushed tomatoes. They come in 28-ounce cans, so good to go there. And olive oil, 3 tablespoons.
And
red pepper flakes, crushed. And mozzarella, 1 cup, shredded. You can either buy it pre-shredded, you could shred your own block. I grated my own block because I had some left over. Awesome. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is chop up our onion. So, what I like to do is take out the outer layer, because usually that's where all the skin and stuff is. Other camera. And I cut off the ends to make it easier to peel off that outer layer. So we're just going to chop this up. So what I like to do is chop it in half first, after I've cut off the ends and cut it in half. And then, I cut it like I'm going to cut onion rings first. And then I cut it into little pieces. Also, we're going to need to mince our garlic. So, where is our garlic bulb? Garlic bulb is made of cloves. So, we're going to take out about 3 of them.
That's 1. Got 1 already done. 2, 3. Alright.
So, we have to take the skin off of the garlic. And a good way to do that is to crush the garlic first. So, you can either take like a bottle or a can or the blunt side of your knife and just press down till it's flattened. And if you look, it becomes very easy to peel the skin off of your garlic.
Yeah, basically it's a lot easier to crush it first. I've done this before, not with the non-crushing method. It's a pain in the butt.
If you find it's still hard to take out the skin, crush it again, like I just did. Alright, also we're going to want to cut off the ends of it, because that part is not tasty. Alright. So, you can either garbage disposal or just throw it in the garbage. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut up the garlic as small as we can. That's what mincing it is. Try not to cut yourself. So, what I like to do with this knife is just cut it and cut it and cut it.
Just rock it back and forth pretty much. It's really easy. If you have like a rounder, it's like chef knife or like a nice knife set.
Yes.
You get the rounded edge blade.
Generally, if you just have a chef's knife, which is basically, I think, the staple of most kitchens or any knife, it will be fine. If you have a straighter edged knife, you just go like this a bunch until it's pretty small.
You're pretending to chef action in on there. Works out.
So the pieces should be pretty small. They don't have to be minuscule, but when they seem small enough, or you get tired of mincing, then you're good to go. I think that's good enough. Alright.
What you want to do now is you want to take your garlic and your onions, you want to heat them up on the stove. So what you want to do is you want to prep your oil, get it nice and hot for you.
So what you're going to do, so what we've done is we've poured 2 tablespoons of oil into the pan, and we have to heat it up.
The crazy way. What's the safe way?
No, we're not doing that. So how can you tell if the oil is hot enough? Usually it's going to end up being really runny, almost like water, after it's been heated a good amount. Or if you want to do it the crazy unsafe way, like Dante here wants to do, you can throw a little couple drops of water and it will spray out at you. And as everybody knows, you want hot oil on your face, apparently.
It won't spray, it'll mostly sizzle.
And
it'll
pop
evaporate.
into your face.
It's awesome.
So after the oil's hot enough, you're going to want to add the onion and the garlic. So what we're going to do is saute the onions till they're nice and soft.
Yeah, this process normally takes like maybe 2-3 minutes and you're good. Alright. So we're like 1.5 minutes in, we're almost there. You can tell that the onions are getting really soft because their colors are starting to change a little bit. Becoming a little bit more translucent, less of that pure white color that it had before. Say it's garlic time now.
And red pepper flakes.
Yes. Cannot forget the pepper flakes.
1/4 teaspoon. These are optional. Dante is now added the garlic and 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Nothing in cooking is really exact, unless you want to be. But when you're just cooking and not baking, you can just kind of eyeball it. The red pepper flakes are optional if you don't want it to be a little bit. You don't want it to be too spicy.
That's one way you can think of it. So the spicier you want it, the more pepper flakes you can add. Dangerous.
Also, I forgot salt and pepper. 2 teaspoons. Sorry, 2 teaspoons salt, 1 teaspoon pepper. I think what we neglected to mention is that this will be used for the sauce. This is what's going to go in the tomato sauce.
2 teaspoons
of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper. I'm pretty sure we neither put 1 teaspoon of anything in, but that's okay.
You saying we haven't put a teaspoon in yet? Yeah, that's what went back to the salt. I realized
the salt is double of the pepper.
Yeah.
Plus, it'll make the onions sweat. All right.
How much would you say that?
So we're gonna do this for 2 minutes, and then we're gonna add the tomatoes.
For how long?
2 minutes. Stir it. Then the
Brian heard you
tomatoes.
say 15 and was like, what?
Next, then add some tomatoes. All of the tomatoes, in fact. So after stirring for 2 minutes, we're gonna add the tomatoes.
Now we're adding the tomato. We'll trade out.
We're going to bring the sauce to a boil, and then we're going to let it simmer for 20 minutes so that all the flavors from the onion, the garlic, the chili peppers, the salt, the pepper will infuse into the tomato sauce. So you can tell the sauce is boiling when bubbles start coming out the main part of it and not just the sides. Kind of like that. Yep, there we go. Oh, right there. So the sauce is now to a boil, so we're gonna reduce the heat to low and let it simmer for 20 minutes. Or basically however long it takes to brown the meat. We're going to turn the heat up to medium, and then we're going to brown the meat. So, take a frying pan, put your meat in it, put it on the stove.
I'm doing right now is I'm separating the meat. It'll help it cook a lot faster. Just by separating it, breaking it up. And plus, because this is going to be sort of like spaghetti when it's cooked, you're going to want to have it in crumbles anyhow.
You can see all the meat is almost completely browned. That means we're about done. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn off the heat and then we're going to drain the fat out of the meat. One way to do it is to just take the meat out and put it in a bowl. That silver bowl that I have there. The other thing we can do is, if you feel like you want to, you can put it through a sieve, or just be very careful as you're pouring it out. We're going to pull her just into the... We're just going to take the meat out and then just pour it out.
Okay.
One important thing to remember when draining oil, put on your garbage disposal and run hot water so that the oil doesn't congeal and screw up anything.
Or everything. So I'm really helping it out right now using the slotted spoon to catch it. So a lot of the oil will drop off back into the pan. So that's a helpful trick if you're just gonna spoon it out into a bowl. Now. Yeah, so we were supposed to season this with salt and pepper before.
While it was browning.
But it's okay, because this is still going back into the mixture of the sauce and everything too. So you can season it right now, even though it's done. It doesn't really change anything for the flavors at all, though.
While the sauce is still simmering, we're now going to cook the lasagna noodles. That requires water, a pot, and the lasagna noodles. So bring a pot of water to boil, throw in the lasagna noodles, and wait for them to get soft and limp.
So I added salt to the pot. The salt actually helps it boil faster.
Yes. So once the beef has cooled a little bit so that it's more easily handled, we're going to mix basically all of the cheese and stuff with it. Oh, also we need 1/3 cup of basil. I should cut that up.
Basil.
I don't want to stab you.
Murder me!
Alright. You get all the cheese ready. I will cut up the basil. If you have a basil plant like this, you want to start taking the leaves from the top so your plant doesn't look ugly afterwards.
By ugly, he really means less attractive.
By ugly. I mean ugly. Your plant will look not attractive. With the basil, we're going to just roughly chop up about 1/3 cup of it. So, I mean, you don't have to be as thorough as you were with the garlic. So just kind of make sure that it's just not giant leaves of basil. So we're just going to roughly chop the basil off. In this particular case, a chef knife is probably not the utensil you want to be using. But, work with what you got. Depending on how much you like basil, you can either add more or less of it to this recipe. Completely up to you. That's what's so fun about cooking.
Loves basil, so basil it up.
Alright. I thought we had an egg out here. We did not. We need an egg.
I also thought we had an egg out.
I thought we took an egg out. What happened to it?
It evaporated.
So your egg should be lightly beaten, which means lightly beaten.
Cover that.
Alright. So, to our meat mixture, we're going to add our goat cheese. We're going to add our egg. Half of our, well, not half, sorry. We're going to add our ricotta. 8 ounces of ricotta, the basil, and also half of the parmesan. Also, 1/3 cup of the tomato sauce mixture. So, stir these ingredients. That concludes the lasagna innards portion of our meal.
He didn't really mean innards. He just meant the stuffings. Because innards sounds gross.
Once the water is boiling, it's time to add the lasagna. Let it cook for about 10 to 12 minutes, I think. Basically until it's soft enough that you will eat it. That's how long we will cook them. You may notice the lasagna doesn't fit in the pot yet. But as it softens in the boiling water, you just slowly push it in until it's completely submerged.
Fade to black.
Once the noodles are soft enough, because we're going to roll them, we're going to be able to take them out. These ones are almost ready. So when you're ready, we're just going to drain the pot, I mean. And we're going to let the noodles cool until they're cool enough to be handled. One way to do that is we can just run them under cold water. All the while, our sauce has been simmering. So I think the sauce is about done, so I turned off the heat. Alright, so now we're about to assemble our lasagna roll-ups. Where's my ladle? Oh, my ladle. So, with this ladle, I'm going to ladle about 1.5 cups of the sauce into the bottom of a 9 by 13 casserole dish. I didn't own one of these until I had to make this recipe, and this is a pretty staple part of any kitchen. So if you do not own a casserole dish, I would recommend going out and getting one. I think this one cost me $9. Alright, so we're just going to put essentially a nice layer at the bottom of it, and next we're going to start rolling. So, grab a lasagna noodle. This one doesn't seem to want to go. Alright.
Misses its friends.
Okay. Grab a lasagna noodle and gonna lay it in the sauce. We're going to spoon some of our meat mixture into the middle. Not too much, just a little bit. Maybe a little more. There's really no set amount, just you want a nice layer in between for your lasagna, and then we're going to start rolling it. Now I didn't roll these in a separate plate because by putting it on the sauce, we get a little more of that nice sauce flavor into the roll-up. When you're done, put the seam, like the end of the roll-ups face down, and place it into the edge of the casserole dish. And now we do the rest of it.
Okay, now that we got our noodles and our roll-ups already done, we're gonna put the remaining sauce on it. Then after the sauce, we got our cheese coming in. So you want to try and cover all the noodles that you can. Just spoon it over everything. You can use your ladle, your spoon, or whatever you're using to take it out, and just gently rub it over on top of everything. That way it'll spread out pretty evenly, depending on how generous you are in what spaces. Okay. Almost. Alright, so we got this going. We have our oven preheating to 400 degrees. Okay. Noodles are all covered in sauce. Time to get our mozzarella. Okay, 1 cup of mozzarella. So the spoon, just going to use my hands. Alright. So you want to put this as generously as you can. Just mix it up. Because it's cheese. I mean, you want cheese to be everywhere. You want the cheesy goodness all over your food.
Then we'll take the remainder of the Parmesan and do the same.
Yeah, basically you can't even see these ropes anymore. But that's alright.
It'll melt and then be delicious.
So that alarm sound we got right there was our oven telling us we're good to go. And so yeah, get this cheese on here, we're good. Alright, and into the oven she goes. Alright, so we're going to let that cook off in the oven for 20-25 minutes. Alright, see you guys in like half an hour.
Alright, so after about 20-25 minutes, you basically want to cook it until the cheese is melted and bubbly. We can take it out of the oven.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So yes, nice and melted cheese. So we're done. You now have a completed meal. Enjoy. Alright, so hopefully this dish turned out well for you guys. Our first episode was probably a little rougher than the following ones will be, but I'm Elmer.
It's Dante.
And happy cooking.